5 fragrances that keep my passion to the fragrances, to this game, fresh. I mean, whenever I sniff these fragrances, I say to myself, yeah, good that I started, and I still want to be in the game and purchase more or collect more fragrances. Without any further ado, I want to start by Kilian Intoxicated. Yeah, it is very close to Thierry Mugler's Amen, but like a bit next level of that fragrance, as it is more polished. Some sort of daring notes are here reduced, and here we have some sort of very delicious roasted smoky added coffee note at the top. It is not as sticky. Well, also I like Amen as much as this one, but this is a little bit better to my nose compared to the Amen because of that added coffee note, which works extremely crazy with this DNA. In terms of performance, I can get like max 6-7 hours plus longevity with this one. With Amen, I can get 12 hours plus. In the air, they are almost identical. This one is more inoffensive, more rounded or polished, let's say. I believe even Amen is more daring compared to this one, but which one I like better? I like Intoxicated better, and as it is more wearable, and I can say this one is a better compliment getter compared to the regular Amen. Another unusual fragrance that I really appreciate and like it is none other than Pardon by Nasomatsu. So it is like smoky, very green at the same time, has some sort of oily feel to it. It is like greasy, oily. I don't want to spray it because it will last like 14 hours in my studio, and it has some sort of cannabis seedy vibe to it, not smoked or itself like cannabis seeds if you have smelled or taste them, because here we have them on breads, on some sort of breads. It is like cannabisy, oily, very little green, and has some sort of very little chocolatey feel, very little at the very late dry down. At the opening is like oily cannabisy, at the dry down you get that very little smoky woody feel, and chocolates at the betweens to give to that bitterness of oud some sort of balance. Like most of Nasomatsu fragrances, this is also a very long-lasting fragrance. I wouldn't say to this one beast mode, because projection and sillage is not that loud, but lasts very long, like 12-14 hours plus. But projection sillage is like inoffensive but noticeable. Average, after 2 hours somehow below average, but always it is there. You can get that sillage or projection out of this one. So I would say like 2-3 hours average to below average type of projection and sillage, and out of this world type of scent profile if you are into this type of daring and unusual smelling fragrances. Next one is one of the best examples for a solid oriental fragrance that allows your soul to touch that deserts, that mysterious stories, roads and culture. I'm talking about Jubilation Man from House of Amouage. Touches my soul. It is like bonfire is smoky, oud is here burned. We have here smoke of oud. It is dried fruity. Nothing is here fresh. Very dry type of fragrance, very aggressive type of fragrance, exactly like a desert. Dry, aggressive, dried fruitiness. We have here also honey, but honey is not boom to your face or very prominent too much. I would say that resiny and smoky notes are much more prominent compared to the honey. Honey gives the fragrance a very solid base and bed, which the other notes are standing on it, but also it is not prominent. So I would say I can get like, it is also a reformulated version. You can see the cap is magnetic, but it is also not a very new batch. So I can get with this one 10 hours, solid longevity, 10-12 hours. Projection and sillage is at some points at the first hour above average, after that is like average to below average for first 2-3 hours, let's say. So first hour is above average, second and third hour is below average at some points, but it is a very strong and noticeable type of fragrance, but not a beast mode anymore, I have to say, compared to the very first batches. Not a complimenting fragrance, but yeah, it is absolutely a mind-blowing scent. at least for me. So let's continue by one of the top seller fragrances from House of Parfums, the Marley. It is a top seller fragrance for some reason. I am sure you already guessed it through. I'm talking about Leighton. At the very first impression, sniff was like, yeah, waste of money. I did a mistake by blind buying this fragrance. It was like Vixy mentally, and I said I can't smell anything else. But after like second or third applying, I could get lots of other things like apple, like a bit, I would say, woodiness, like cardamom. It is like fruity, and the smokiness is here very rare. I haven't smelled anything like this before. Some comparison with Boss Bottled Intense, I can see why, but yeah, these are totally two different fragrances, 100%, because of that apple note. Maybe I can see why, but it is a very rare smelling type of fragrance, especially because of that off-putting Vixy mentally vibe, because I haven't smelled anything like this minty smoky before. Let's say very unique, long lasting, and absolutely complementing a dressed up luxury, and one of those fragrances that you want to keep it forever in your collection, and you need backup bottles of this one, definitely. And definitely one of the best fragrances that always keeps my passion fresh and pushes me more to stay in the game and gives me great motivation is from House of Versace, one of the most underrated fragrances in my opinion from that house. I'm sure you can't guess name of that fragrance. I'm talking about Versace Oud Noir. Although it is inspired by Oud Wood from House of Tom Ford, you can get inspirations, but I believe these are totally two different fragrances. It is not clone of that fragrance. And to my nose, this one smells better, as it is not soapy. I can get some sort of soapiness personally, green soapiness from Oud Wood by Tom Ford. This one is more bitter. I like bitter fragrances. This one has some sort of leathery feel to it. And at the dry down, just this one gets a bit sweeter compared to the Oud Wood, which at that point makes me a bit like, I would like Oud Wood better, because I prefer this one without that sweetness. At the first hour of opening, it is bitter, then turns to cardamom type of sweet dry down. It is not smoky, it is very deep and resiny, like elemi I can get, which is type of resin, frankincense or elemi. I would say elemi, it is not that much incensey. And performances like below average for me, like max 4-5 hours. Yeah, 4 hours, let's say, in terms of longevity on my skin. And projection and sillage, I can't get that much projection and sillage out of this one. Let's say below average for first hour, max hour and a half. And let's say after first hour turns to a very weak skin scent. Just, yeah, it's for me. Take care, guys.